Welcome to Biotech Stage. It's a stage where we meet with different biotech professionals around the globe to discuss something very exciting, something very informative, and something very hot in the biotechnology field. Today we have Dr. Murli Addepalli with us, and he has worked at different companies in India, Reliance, and most recently at Lextro Biosolutions, where he was working as a chief scientific officer, and he also co-founded this company. And so, welcome, Dr. Murli, on this stage.
Thanks, Arun, and a very good morning to you. And I'm happy to be with you on Biotech Stage to share my experiences here.
Thank you, Dr. Mulli. So, Dr. Mulli, there are a lot of things which I wanted to ask you and discuss with you. And the very first thing is that you have been in this industry for almost 2 decades now. And I still remember in early 2000s, of biologics were just taking off in India. Use of serum-free media was also a big thing to grow mammalian cells. And now India is very developed in terms of biologics, in terms of biosimilars and monoclonal antibodies. And you have been part of it. You have seen it all. So, if you could please share your journey, there must be some obstacles, there must be some challenges, how you overcome those challenges, and how your journey has been in past 2 decades in biotechnology.
Sure, Arun. The most important thing being in this part of the world, especially in the biologics development, is that the developments are very rapid and we are almost like catching up with the rest of the world. The beginning of my career, we started some of those monoclonal antibodies where we talk about getting the yields of a gram itself is a great achievement in those
Mhm.
days. Apart from that, we also used to do sometimes in early stages use the serum containing media, and then we moved back into the serum free media. So the very early stages is how we used to work almost like 15, 20 years ago. But as the science develops, we are also have made a great strides in India. Now earlier we used to talk about the monoclonal antibodies or proteins which target only one particular pathway in a given indication or a disease. Now we have matured to the extent where we are talking about the multispecifics. It is just not that one particular target in a given disease, but rather in parallel we target the two or more than two different targets such that we can attain the synergistic responses, and so the efficacy part of these molecules can be increased further. Not only that, also in terms of the yields due to introduction of the new strains of the cell lines as well as the vector systems, the yields have grown up multiple folds. When we were talking 1 gram, now it is almost we are talking 5 grams to 7 grams per liter. And not only that, we used to talk about the batch bioreactors. Of course, still majorly it is a batch-based bioreactors are there. Now perfusion bioreactors have started coming in a big way. From the glass vessels to the single use bioreactors are also have got into the kind of a routine which used to be like a one kind of a thing, but now single use bioreactors are the one which are taken over the traditional glass-based bioreactors. So all these developments are actually fueling the growth of the biologics sector in India and are also anticipated to drive the global biologics manufacturing capabilities, not just in the manufacturing, but also the discovery of the novel therapeutic molecules from this part of the
Thank you for this information. Yeah, there has been a lot of changes, and especially when what you mentioned, the yield from 1 gram to 5 to 7 grams per liter, and the use of more perfusion-based culture rather than fed batch, because that can support the higher yield and the changes in the manufacturing. Have there been some challenges that you faced or the biotech industry might have faced in past 10, 15 years that they need to be careful on?
Yes, there are, of course, always some of them challenges are there. The accessibility, ability to use some of those analytical characterization tests, or in terms of required reagents on time, getting the reagents on time, because majority of the analytical related reagents are the kind of ligands or some kind of the cell-based assays. We still kind of has to get it from the West, and
Mhm.
most of some of these things are proprietary in nature, and also to get access to prove that these are very in case of a biosimilars, if I consider that proving with the innovators molecule and getting the reference standards. And these are still, there are few challenges are there. There continue to be challenges, but we are getting in much better support now, either in terms of the regulators or from the availability of those standards is far better than what used to be there some 10 to 15 years ago.
Okay. So things are getting better.
Of
And
course.
make in India efforts, as you mentioned, that some of those kits or reagents still are obtained from the West, and which could prove sometime challenges or maybe the cost
Yes.
component. Okay. So when we talk about challenges, obviously challenges or solutions, AI is coming in a big way, and artificial intelligence is affecting most of the industries. So I wanted to get your feedback on how you think AI is going to affect the biotechnology. Everybody is talking about it. So we need to hear from you also. What do you think would happen?
Yeah, I mean, to precisely speak on that, science is something which relies on the data. For a
Hmm.
scientist, understanding the existing data is a crucial for forming the new hypothesis or interpreting the results of the experiments. We use machine learning to teach computers such that complex tasks can be performed and a meaning can be derived from the existing data. Now, using this machine ML machine learning data, then it has to be these machines have to be made much smarter. That is what
Hmm.
we use for the artificial intelligence for. There is not even as we may think that biology or biologics are something which are not going to be touched by artificial intelligence developments, but that is not true. In
Hmm.
fact, it's a biologics are the one which get very soon swamped by the usage of the AI tools because it
Hmm.
does increase the productivity and it does reduce the cost significantly. And also, it will provide us better means of optimizing the manufacturing processes and also not just the manufacturing processes, but are also going to help us to design the novel therapeutics.
Oh, okay.
All this is it's a data driven processes. That's why it's a very important, although it has not reached to the stage where we are ready to generate the next molecule in the next few years, but definitely it is going to catch it up with biologics and overall the biotech sector.
Oh, okay. So it will take some time, maybe 5 years, maybe, yeah, something 5 to 10 years. Dr. Mulli, I also wanted to ask you, there are a lot of companies, a lot of biotech companies in India, and obviously they are doing a lot of research. They are doing a lot of research on the novel therapeutics. But same time, India has got quite good number of very reputable research institutes, and a lot of research is going on there, and they are also working on different molecules. So what I wanted to get your feedback, what academics need to do in order to get their research into commercial stage. There seems to be a quite a big gap at this time.
One of the most important aspects of what the gap between academics and industry to be requires to be bridged is that the need of the industry has to
Hmm.
be very well understood by the academics. The data integrity, not just the integrity purpose. How does the application of the research being conducted at academic institutions can be driven such
Hmm.
that the gap between the biotech industry and the academics can be narrowed down. That's the most important thing.
Hmm.
And furthermore, how do we increase the collaboration between academics and industry? It is
Hmm.
just not like, take one such molecule or one thing and then, we offer a service where, I have the better instrumentation in academics or the industry or vice versa. And then we restrict to this particular molecule or this particular project. Rather than that, it has to be a continuous process so that a meaningful outcome can be achieved.
Okay, okay. I think you touched on how academic can commercialize their research, and that is that they need to understand the needs of the industry. They could be working on something that may not be very commercially viable. So there should be a better communication. There should be more understanding of each other's need, because only then you can serve a customer. Only then you can serve a need. So that's a very important point. So my next follow up question on this collaboration is, once a technique get into a startup, What should the startup companies needs to do in order to become successful?
See, in a startup company, there are multiple stages out there.
Mm-hmm.
One is the what's the vision of the founders
Mm-hmm.
and what they want to build up in a given company.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be a novel therapeutic, or
Mm-hmm.
is this a offering a service or improving something which is already there?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
once we have that clarity
Mm-hmm.
or clear understanding of our plan, the next comes is that how do funds come in into the company? Is
Mm-hmm.
this a bootstrap or is some angel investment or kind of a
Mm-hmm.
seed investment? So we need
Okay.
to define those things, and each one it's a stage-wise process. We will not
Mm-hmm.
get the good amounts of the money in the beginning itself. There has to be
Mm-hmm.
some amount of proof of concept, or there
Mm-hmm.
has to be some business projection has to be there.
Okay.
Once we get into some data to speak the opportunities for our molecules or opportunities for our services are very clear,
Mm-hmm.
then getting the investments into a startup company is going to be kind of a relatively easy. But the
Okay.
most important thing is that whom do you work with an investor? Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand your investor? And the investor and the founders has to align with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the some investment I do it, but the alignment has to be on the vision and
Mm-hmm.
understanding of the science on which they are investing,
Okay.
and the
Okay.
replications of that are the most important thing.
Okay.
As a founder or as a scientist, you do not want to go with anybody. Your selection of investor is most crucial because
Mm-hmm.
they can make or break your company or your dreams.
Dr. Murli, the next thing that I wanted to touch is a little bit on a different aspect, and that is biotechnology is something which is very exciting for the people who work in this field, but the public doesn't understand much. And there is a lot of, I guess, misconception or confusion, especially with the stem cells, not necessarily with the monoclonal antibodies. There is some, and there was some misconception developed during the COVID times. So I wanted to ask you, I wanted to get your feedback on like what do you think companies need to do so that people are more basically educated, more informative about biotechnology, what they are, what biotechnology means to them.
COVID has actually given two kinds of opportunities for the public or for the
Mm-hmm.
society.
Mm-hmm.
One is that it demonstrated biotech's ability to
Mm-hmm.
meet the challenges which
Mm-hmm.
origin from the nature.
Mm-hmm.
To just give you one small example, earlier when somebody says that qPCR or RT-PCR, nobody knows what it is. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
post-COVID, everybody knows what is an RT-PCR.
Yeah.
And we used to spend huge sums of money to buy those kits required for those qPCR. Post
Mm-hmm.
COVID, it is such a cheap that majority of the Indian labs can do required experiments with using those
Mm-hmm.
PCR reagents. And in one way, it also educated the people.
Mm-hmm.
It given the opportunity for the common public, like
Mm-hmm.
what does actually biotech people do it? What is a
Mm-hmm.
vaccine? How the vaccines are developed, and how the industry works.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it also given little bit, kind of I would say like not so comfortable zones for some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
That in my view, that is a purely due to the communication gaps that have
Mm-hmm.
originated between the biotech industry people to the public. So
Mm-hmm.
to reduce these communication gaps or to decrease this discontent in the
Mm-hmm.
about the biotech companies, the awareness programs has to be increased,
Mm-hmm.
where the partnership of the public has to be increased much further in the biotech industry,
Mm-hmm.
so that people will be much more appreciated. COVID has suddenly increased the COVID hyped investors also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In other words, like people saw like great opportunities with a short duration of the time, and as a result,
Mm-hmm.
there are many COVID hyped investors are available. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's a kind of a both good and bad. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
people's participation, public participation has to be increased through various programs like something like Biotech Stage Gate is conducting every year,
Mm-hmm.
where not just the scientists, probably at least a few of the eminent personalities from this government officials, or if we can invite them as a part of
Mhm.
the awareness of this thing, it
Mhm.
will help us to bridge
Mhm.
the gaps, whatever we are seeing currently.
Certainly, there is no doubt that COVID, or because of the COVID, people now understand what the RT-PCR is and the importance of vaccines. So, obviously, but as we need to do a better job in terms of communication and in terms of providing more information. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to touch, this particular podcast is geared towards the younger generation, people who have just finished their bachelor's degree, master's degree, or PhD degree and getting into the biotechnology field. And they are trying to either get a job or switch a job, or trying to excel in whatever things they are doing. So I wanted to get some feedback from you on what do you advise to them, people who are just a few years of work, 1 or 2 years of work in this biotechnology field. What advice do you have for them, how they can be excellent in their work?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Arun. See, most important thing is that you have to be constantly upgrading your technology, whatever it is
Hmm.
coming now. That's the most
Hmm.
important.
Hmm.
And I do often hear that biology is something which is resistant from the AI developments, which is not
Hmm.
a true, actually speaking.
Hmm.
In fact, very soon, most of the some of these healthcare things, as well as the biotechnology or pharmaceutical sectors, will be swamped by AI related tools.
Hmm.
One has to be constantly vigilant and
Hmm.
upgrade themselves to the new
Hmm.
developments in the
Hmm.
domain, so that they can maintain the success all through their careers.
Hmm.
And you got to be very clear on your vision. What do you want to do? What you want to achieve? That's the most important thing. Once you are clear on your goals, obviously you have to work to achieve those goals.
Hmm.
And most important thing is like keeping yourself up to date with the technology.
Hmm.
Don't ever get a aversion towards the new developments.
Hmm.
They may look like a little difficult initially, but we have
Hmm.
to adapt to those technologies. So don't shy away
Yeah.
to keep
Oh.
learning it all the time.
Yeah, thank you very much for these tips. I think you have given 4 keys for the younger generation to excel in their job, constantly upgrading. You make the use of AI, because AI is very important and they need to learn how AI works in or helps in biotechnology. And as you mentioned, they need to have a clear vision what they want to achieve, because once they have clear vision, they can work towards it. And updating themselves on a continuous basis on new techniques. Those are the four keys, or 4 key for the development. So thank you very much for that, Dr. Mulli. I also wanted to ask you, what do you think the future is for the biotechnology in India at this time? I mean, we have seen a lot of development in past 20 years, and now biologics, or especially the monoclonal antibody, is quite developed. Cell and gene therapy is coming up. Where do you think biotechnology will be in coming few years, 5 years, 10 years?
Definitely, it's going to be an exciting times,
Mm-hmm.
of course, to globally and especially to India also,
Mm-hmm.
because it's on a definitive growth path,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the new developments in biotechnology is going to have a paradigm shift the way we see, the way we offer or develop the new medications. As we move forward, in my view, gene therapies, cell and gene therapies, are going to occupy a much bigger stage
Mm-hmm.
than the existing mode of treatments. If I
Mm-hmm.
see a couple of years ago when we were talking in cell and gene therapy conferences, people always used to feel that liquid tumors are the only one we can treat it. It has to be ex vivo, you have to produce your CAR Ts and then administer it. That is how the things work. But
Mm-hmm.
after 2 to 3 years later, when we see today, there are more than a dozen in vivo CAR T therapies are in various stages of clinical development. It does
Mm-hmm.
not require to be taken the patient's, autologous, T cells, culture them and then put it back and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, people used to speak about, oh, solid tumors are very difficult to treat with it. But that's not the case any longer. We
Mm-hmm.
do have some successful stories, although currently limited in number, we do have some successful stories. And we
Mm-hmm.
often hear that, CRISPR technology has treated so and so person, and now he is happy and very good, doing well. So
Mm-hmm.
as we progress, the cell and gene therapy, especially gene therapies, are going to take the center stage. And then it also indirectly reduce the cost of the medication.
Mm-hmm.
as we see in a few decades. Manufacturing, especially, are going to be cost will be going to reduce much further in this sector,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the accessibility of the medication will be much wider.
Mm-hmm.
Even the so-called the advanced medication accessibility will be much
Mm-hmm.
wider and cheaper to the Indian population as a whole to the global population.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it is good to know that the cost will come down. Then it will be more affordable and available to more people. And gene therapy certainly has a lot of future. I still remember gene therapy started when I was doing my postdoc. That was almost 3 decades ago. I was working on gene therapy. So now gene therapy is coming to the point that it could be used for actual treatment. So it is good to know. So Dr. Murli, with this we are coming towards the end, and for the ending part, I wanted to do two activities. One is I wanted to ask you if you could share any funny story during your career or anything that you think exists in biotech and general public is not aware of it. And the second part is that I will ask you 10 different questions, which are rapid fire questions. So if you could please share any funny story or any fact that you think exists in biotech which general public is not aware of.
Some of the, I'll give my own personal storyline about
Mm-hmm.
this funny thing. I was doing my the PhD, and then I did spoil one of the experiments continuously. Kind of two, three times I was spoiling it. And my
Mm-hmm.
professor pulled me up and said that, "Did you cook today at home?" I said that no. Then he said that go cook and come back tomorrow. I said what relation it has with my experiment getting not worked. Then the guy told that first you cook it and come back tomorrow. Then I said okay fine. Next day he asked me again, did you cook it? I said okay, I did cook it. How was it taste? Ah, it was okay, tasted not so great, but it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said that till you cook well and you taste better for you, don't do this experiment. Then I asked him, this is not a something funny you are doing it. What relation you have? Then he told that you are not focused on your mind what to do it. If you cook properly, it should
Mm-hmm.
taste better. Your experiment is also just like cooking. It
Yeah.
has to be focused. It has to. It is a, when you do experiment, it is a mix of various ingredients in that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then you are testing outcome of that. In
Mm-hmm.
cooking also, if you draw the similar kind of analogy, there also you are cooking by mixing multiple ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows that your mental stability is how it is.
Yeah, that's a very important point. I mean, if you focus, you do things in a better way. Thanks for sharing. Now we will start the rapid fire section. And I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and 10 being the best, almost there, or strongly agree, depending upon the question. And as I mentioned, we intend to finish this in less than 60 seconds. So I'll start now. So, first question: quality of biotech drug products in India.
Six,
Okay. Second question: production capacity in India.
seven,
Okay. Innovation in India.
five,
IP protection in India.
five,
Adequate availability of talented workforce.
seven,
Productive interactions among peers.
six,
Okay. Capital available to support new projects.
four,
A cost efficiency with an aim to cut down the cost of drugs.
five,
Okay. Unambiguous and clear guidelines for regulatory purposes.
six,
Okay. And the final last question: make in India efforts.
six.
Okay. Thank you. So, Dr. Mulli, with this, we coming to the end, and thank you again for coming to the this podcast and sharing your views, sharing your experience, and sharing some of the very important tips for younger generation. So, thank you again.
Thanks for inviting me and look forward to you meeting more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.